Hi, and welcome back to Old Fashioned Graces and Vlogtober. I am hoping to get this video done in one shot, but if you see a change of clothes, it's because, well, life happened. You'll hear my baby girl over there on the bed squeaking away, and probably some outdoor noises from the rest of my family. Today's topic is modesty. So this is a video that I want to make for a long time, but I'm struggling how exactly I want to word it. I feel like anymore there's very much two camps in our world. There is the ultra modest camp, which I am glad in general to see a comeback of. I'm talking skirts and dresses only, long sleeves, high necklines, long skirts, and then the wearing essentially belts and pasties as clothes camp. And I just wanted to talk about, I wanted to share my journey with modesty, what I'm teaching my 5 girls, and what I think can be sometimes missing in the modesty conversations that I hear. So this is coming from a Christian perspective. I am Catholic, but a lot of this is stuff that I was raised with, and I was raised just evangelical Christian. I was raised by parents who weren't necessarily raised with these conversations being a part of their lives, and they were trying to figure it out for me and my siblings. And then now as an adult and as a mom of 5 girls, although modesty is not just a girl thing, I will talk about the guy side here in a minute, I've been thinking through and figuring out what that looks like. I'm going to try to kind of talk about what modesty is, what it isn't, and then some like guidelines and things that I think about. I'm not sure if I will be able to get this in one take. I'm not sure if this will end up being a multi-part series. We'll see. What modesty isn't, maybe we'll start there, is it's not about saying women's bodies are bad. As a Christian, I believe that we are created in God's image, both male and female, and our bodies are beautiful. They're amazing. They are wonderful. And they're meant to be beautiful and to be admired. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with people looking at a woman. But there is an issue with people lusting after a woman and leering at a woman. But that isn't necessarily a woman's fault. Modesty is not about women being responsible for men's thoughts or actions. It does not matter what a woman is wearing or not wearing. A man is still responsible for his thoughts and actions. No outfit or lack thereof is ever an excuse for a man treating a woman shamefully. A man has no excuse to let his thoughts run away from him and lust after a woman. It's never okay. However, as women, there are things we can do to, one, help, especially our brothers in Christ, out, make it easier to have a pure thought life, and also to protect ourselves. There are creepy guys out there that will attack and lust after you no matter what you're wearing. However, we can reduce our chances of being treated poorly by dressing better. And I, for one, am all for reducing my chances of guys lusting after me or being treated negatively because of my lack of clothing. Dressing modestly is not about being afraid to show off our womanly figure. No, God gave us a womanly figure. God gave us boobs, He gave us a waist, He gave us hips. There's nothing wrong with showing the world that we are women. You don't have to wear shapeless clothes. You don't have to wear ugly clothes. That's not about what modesty is. Modesty is about wearing what is right for the occasion. So unless you're for a photo shoot, you aren't going to be, or a wedding maybe on a beach, you're not going to be wearing a formal dress to the beach. It wouldn't be modest because that's not right for the beach. It's not immodest to be butt naked while delivering your baby, because guess what? In that environment, assuming you're not like having a baby for some reason at like the middle of a music festival, having your baby is something that is done in privacy, in your home or in the hospital or birth center, with the people that you have chosen to be around you. And if you want to give birth completely naked, that is fine. If you want to wear something that covers you up a bit more, that's fine too. But in that environment, it is okay. As long as it's not degrading to you or your spouse, you can wear what you want with your spouse or lack thereof for your alone time together, because it's just the two of you and you are enjoying each other and enjoying each other's bodies, and that is okay, because that is appropriate for the environment. What's not okay is to wear what you would wear in the bedroom to Walmart. What is not modest is wearing pajamas in public unless you have either just had a baby or you're sick or like injured because it's not appropriate. Modesty is about intentions, environment, and appropriateness. It is about caring for others. It's about caring for others and how comfortable they are. And it's about choosing to present yourself in a light. I love the phrase, wear your clothes tight enough to show you're a woman and loose enough to show that you're a lady. This idea that, like, especially in our day and age, we don't need to leave people guessing about whether we're male or female. But it's okay if they don't know exactly our bra size or what type of underwear we're wearing. Modesty also isn't about being perfect all the time. I have worn inappropriate things to church several times accidentally. There were outfits I didn't think were that short until I got to church and bent over to pick up a child and suddenly realized, oh dear, this is shorter than I thought. It's a top or a dress that seemed like it came up far enough at home, new outfit, and you get to church and halfway through church it is sagging down and suddenly you're showing a lot of cleavage that you had no intentions of showing. Modesty is not about perfection. It is about your intentions and making wise choices. Obviously, there are things we can do to reduce wardrobe malfunctions, but there's no way to be foolproof with that, especially if you're breastfeeding. Due to the varying nature of breastfeeding, if you need to have easy access to your boobs, there's a greater chance that someone's going to accidentally see them. That's just how it is. And while I am a big believer in covering up when you nurse, I also think that if boobs should be seen in public at any point, it should be while a woman is breastfeeding her child, because that's kind of what they were designed for. They were designed for two things: feeding children and for spousal enjoyment. And one should only happen in the bedroom, and the other one has to happen in all places at all times because babies get hungry. But we can also do it in more modest ways. And I'll link the review of the Quince nursing shawl, which I absolutely love. It's great. Helps with the modesty aspect. So I think those are all the big points. I'm sure I've missed some about what modesty is and isn't. I would love to hear your comments down below. I know people have had a lot of negative experiences and thoughts about purity culture from like the 90s and early 2000s. And although I was largely raised in that time and kind of culture, I don't really have those negative experiences, and that might be how my mom raised us specifically. I never got the message that my body was bad. I also, to be fair, until I had kids, had like no curves whatsoever. So modesty in a lot of ways was easier. I had to learn all about how to dress curves modestly once I had my first child, because suddenly there were curves that I hadn't had before. Suddenly tops that were modest before weren't now, and I had to figure out how to juggle that and breastfeeding. So I would love to hear your comments below. What have I missed? Do you disagree with me? Do you agree with me? I would love to have a polite but lively discussion in the comment section below. Now, for some more guidelines, not really rules. They're not set in stone. Like I said, it does depend on the situation that I follow for me and my girls. So we'll start with swimwear. I think that bikinis are immodest. One of the really things that convinced me on this, so growing up, you had to wear one pieces, a modest one piece. So it couldn't be super high cut up the thigh, couldn't have like crazy cutouts in the back, couldn't be super low cut. But other than that, just a basic one piece. That was my parents' rules. That's what I grew up with. And it was all fun and games until I was 13 and I was at the beach and a guy that I knew, who I knew had a crush on me, was there. And I was so insanely uncomfortable. Like so uncomfortable and embarrassed. And that's when I realized, like, no, I'm not comfortable with how I am. I just felt very exposed. And I'm not upset at my parents at all, but this is what I experienced. And it was kind of the start of making modesty decisions on my own that at times were even more strict than my folks. So that's when I decided I would wear a skirt or shorts with all of my one-piece swimsuits. So now that's super easy. Back then, we're talking like 2010. And remember, I'm shopping all secondhand for all this stuff. It was a little bit harder. Board shorts were just becoming a thing. So I started wearing board shorts or athletic shorts, even just like booty shorts. But stuff that covered my butt all the way, covered my hips, covered some of my thigh. That's when I started doing that. So now for me and my girls, we wear either a one piece with shorts or skirt over it. And it's not long. It's not even knee length. We're talking like mini skirt length, even sometimes booty shorts, but it's still more coverage than the equivalent of underwear, which is standard swimsuit bottom coverage. So we wear that for a bottom, and then we wear something that comes up to no more than a hand width below the collarbone. Frequently, the top is a rash guard of sorts. This is particularly handy for nursing because then I can wear a nursing bra underneath and just wear a rash guard and lift it up and nurse, like in the vehicle or something. Although it's not convenient to nurse in a swimsuit, but I have found ways that it can work. Generally, we're not at the beach long enough where it's a really big deal. So that's kind of our swimsuit motto. It's not as modest as we are for other things, but again, this whole idea of modesty for where you are, that's really modest for at the beach. It is what I feel comfortable in. I've gone to the beach now with like, well, we're back. You can tell by the different outfit that is a different day. I think it's been like 4 or 5 days. Life happened. So we're going to continue our chat about modesty. I believe I left off talking about swimwear and about how I am really comfortable wearing what I wear to the beach, even around other men, which is usually my indicator of like if something is modest enough, is if like I'm super embarrassed for my brothers, my dad, especially guys I know, to see me in that, then it's probably not modest enough. Again, it's not about their reaction, it's about what I feel comfortable with. So I love little grunts over there. That is for swimwear. Now we'll get into the debate of skirts and dresses only or jeans. I personally do not feel that there is a biblical mandate to wear only skirts and dresses. However, I have a lot of respect for many women who do have a personal conviction that that is what they should do. I am someone in general that tends to rely really heavily on skirts and dresses. I have enjoyed wearing them since I was a little girl. Actually was because of a modesty issue. Couldn't wear skirts when playing for a while because I would be like hanging upside down and doing other crazy stuff. And, you know, with gravity, that led to some modesty issues. Don't want to be showing off my undies to everyone. So for a while, my mom was like, you know what, when you're playing, you need to wear pants. It's just more modest for you to wear pants. Now, this is one of the things that is a little bit different, and in my family has changed a little bit too, is as I got to be a teenager and young adult, me and a couple of my sisters realized we can solve a lot of the modesty issues with skirts and dresses by wearing biker shorts underneath. I'll be right back. Alright, if I get distracted, that's because baby is now in my arms and will hopefully be eating here. But like I was saying, we found that if you wear leggings or in particular biker shorts under your skirts and dresses, that it definitely increased the modesty. We tended to wear a lot of, back then, elastic waisted skirts, which meant that if someone accidentally pantsed you, you were covered, which was really nice. If something happens and your skirt comes up for whatever reason, whether that be wind or something else, you're covered. You're covered because you got the shorts on underneath. And it was just it was a layer of protection and comfort for us, honestly. Still is. I like them now because I can get them to have a little bit of tummy control, which can help with figure, especially postpartum, which is really nice. So I am not team skirts and dresses only, although I do think it can be a really great challenge, both for your wardrobe. I think it can be a really good challenge both for your wardrobe and spiritually and just kind of practically to do a skirts and dresses only challenge for a while. I've done it for Lent one year and it was actually really informative. And I learned a lot from it. I may do that again this year. I'm also debating about doing it for Advent. Hi. That being said, I think there is a lot to be said for making sure that you do dress in a feminine manner. Now, as you can see, I'm wearing a flannel, so I am not saying that you need to wear bows and ribbons all day, every day. And especially if you're doing farm work or some other physical work like that, I don't think it's always practical. But I do think there is a dressing femininely mindset that we can have that really, really distinguishes us from men. I believe that, except maybe in winter gear, because that's a whole different thing, especially like animal winter gear. You should be able to tell what is a man and what is a woman by looking at a person. even looking at them from the back, you should be able to tell. Now that we've discussed that, I'm going to discuss about our modesty stuff with skirts and dresses. So for us, we do a knee length rule to the bottom of the kneecap, not to the top. And for my girls especially, and almost always for me, although sometimes laundry is behind and I can't quite do that, we wear either leggings or shorts under all of our dresses and skirts. It is just really handy, especially for little kids, or if you're going to be around little kids. It's just unpredictable, and that really makes sure that no one's undies are on display. So we do that. We do nothing skin tight. I love a fitted dress. So I'm not against a fitted, but there's a difference between fitted and skin tight. So knee length, not skin tight, and not low cut or backless. So in general, I just like to go for a really high neckline. Kind of my rule of thumb is if you hold your hand and put your thumb in your collarbone notch there, the neckline of your shirt or dress needs to come to the bottom of your hand. Now, I am frequently a breastfeeding mom. This will be my 5th time nursing a baby. So modesty while breastfeeding is challenging, and I'll probably do a separate video on that just in general because there's a lot to go into that. But I find that it can be really difficult to find nursing friendly stuff with a high neckline, which just baffles me, but that's how it is. And then for church in particular, we have an additional rule that shoulders have to be covered. I found out this principle actually at our rehearsal for our wedding, when our priest informed us that this was just considered a respectful thing. It wasn't an issue with me. It was actually someone else in our wedding party. It was actually a man. I'll be blunt with you. It was a man in our wedding party that was wearing a race tank top because he had come right from a race to make it to our rehearsal. And his shoulders were uncovered. And the priest was like, no, not happening again. That's when I learned about that. And interestingly enough, I read, I believe it was in Ladies Like Us. It was either in Ladies Like Us or English Etiquette. Elena, oh shoot, I'm drawing a blank on her last name, from the Darling Academy. She talks about how it is not considered polite or proper etiquette to go into a place of worship, whether that be Christian or otherwise, with your shoulders uncovered. I would say this especially applies to a place of worship that you are not familiar with. So if you're going to church at a new church or visiting someone else's church or place of worship, to just have your shoulders covered. There's not going to be a reason where that's going to be seen as too covered up, and it can definitely help you from being too uncovered to fit in comfortably. I look at a lot of the churches in Europe, and especially like the tourist attractions, they will have signs there and guards are like, no, you have to have your shoulders covered. So that is a rule for us, that for church, shoulders have to be covered. Now, I'm okay with doing just like a cap sleeve that just, just covers the shoulder. That's fine. It doesn't need to be even a full short sleeve or long sleeve. Just needs to cover the shoulder, and especially like the back part of the shoulder. Modesty has been a topic that has been a part of my life for as long as I can remember, but especially in the last 5 to 10 years, I've really grown in my understanding of it and saw things that I couldn't see when I was younger, and kind of understood things a lot more clearly. And now when I see a woman at church, only women are doing this, and she's sitting with like a strapless top on, or sometimes like a halter neck top if she has longer hair, she's sitting up against the pew. From the back, it looks like she's shirtless. I mean, she's not, because obviously no one's going to go into church like this. But that's what it looks like in that split second when you're scanning, whether that's you're walking into church or you hear noise and you look over, or let's be honest, your mind wanders a little bit, which unfortunately happens. You look over and your brain's like, oh my word, that woman is shirtless. And then you have to be like, no, she's not. I just thought that. And for us, we have a rule that us women in our family wear skirts or dresses to mass, with the exception of babies. Frequently they'll just wear like a whatever cute outfit that fits them. I try to dress my girls in dresses when possible, even when they're new babies, but sometimes it just doesn't work out. But lest you be concerned, there is still modesty stuff that I am worried about for men in my life, which right now is just my husband, but this would apply to any sons. He wears dress pants, like khaki dress pants or like blue dress pants, and a button-up shirt for church every week. Now, I would be okay with him wearing like a polo shirt, but he can't stand polo shirts, so he wears pearl snap button-up shirts, or snap-up shirts, I guess, and that works great. I apologize if this is all over the place. I kind of had this planned on how I was going to talk about it, and then postpartum brain sink in. And one of the things that I do not think is modest as general clothing, but is modest for a specific situation, is looser athletic shorts. I think especially in the Christian world, I have seen this firsthand, that there's this impression that if it's looser, it's better. And although I am a big advocate, especially of young girls, not wearing booty hugging shorts to work out in, I'm thinking like cross-country practice and things like that, track practice. If you wear super loose athletic shorts and then you sit on the ground with your knees up to your chest, your shorts will bag and we can see all the way up your thigh to your undies. And I know people aren't meaning to do that, but that is an issue. This goes back to one of the philosophies I have about modesty, and that is underclothes should be that, underclothes. We shouldn't see them. Specifically for bras and underwear. Now, there are some undergarments like undershirts or even a slip that's a little bit different, but your bra and underwear should not be seen. Now, again, nobody's perfect. I have definitely, especially with like bra straps, had this issue, but the goal should be that your bra straps should be hidden and no one should be able to tell what color or what shape of underwear you have on, because they should be hidden as well. This applies to boys too. Boys in athletic shorts, not a good thing. When we have sons, I don't think I am going to let them run around in athletic shorts, because I have seen a fair bit of modesty issues with boys in athletic shorts too. In particular, when they're not being worn for an athletic activity, when they're just being worn like around all day. That's a kind of a pet peeve of mine. So again, this is not just a ladies' problem. This is a guy's problem too. I'm also going to hopefully do another video about modesty. It's not just about the clothes, because there's a whole nother side of modesty about your attitude and your speech and your body language and all that. But this video is long enough as it is, so I don't want to get into that in this video. So we've kind of gone over the main principles. Underclothes should stay hidden. Beachwear, skirts and dresses, what that looks like. Oh, another big one is bending over. You need to be aware of what happens when you bend over. So my particular build of chest means that in a lot of tops, when I bend over, they just gape. Even if they're like a more form-fitting top, just how the neckline sits on me, they gape forward, and you can see, like, if I'm wearing one of those, you can see down to my belly, which again is not modest, because no one should be seeing your boobs in public, just in general. There are other instances. So that is something you need to be mindful with shirts and dresses, and that can either be fixed with an undershirt, altering the top, or just not getting it. You know, this kind of falls into the same lines of making sure you don't have a blouse that's gaping unless you have an undergarment under it. Also, do not wear a white bra with a white shirt. We will be able to see your bra. We will. You need to wear an undershirt under the white shirt, or at the very least, a nude colored bra. Nude to your skin tone, not necessarily the colored nude. I am sure that I have missed lots and lots of things in this video. I feel like it's been a little bit all over the place and scattered, but I would love to hear your thoughts down below. Is modesty something you're concerned about? Are you tired of hearing it? Do you think it's only a women's issue? Do you think that modesty is only something for women to be responsible for guys' actions? I would love to know your thoughts down below, and then I will do another video here. I might just record it right after this, we'll see, about the other side of modesty that's not just clothes. Let me know what I missed. Let's start a discussion down below. God bless. Bye.